One of the common things that typically happens in environments where we need to deploy VMs on a regular basis, but we don't want to configure static IP addresses. You know, these are going to be devices that are going to get spun up, be used for a short period of time, and then get spun down, deleted, maybe, for example, stuff like that. So to affect this, we don't want to have to statically configure stuff. Now, you might also have VMs that are running that are going to have static IPs. Well, we can deploy DHCP in our environment in a scenario known as, well, it's DHCP. We're going to configure the NSX Edge, so the ESG, and the DLR. We're going to go through and configure some DHCP and basically flip all of our VMs over to DHCP and get them squared away. One of the first things that I'm going to go do real quick is on LVM5. Actually, let me do this from the edges. We go to logical switch, or LVM5. Yeah, I'll come over here. I was thinking that it's on a logical switch already. I'm going to go to Actions. We go to Edit Settings. And I'm going to, on the network adapter, drop this down, go to Browse. And I'm going to choose to put this on, scoot this over just a little bit so I can see everything. I'm going to put this on the Con 2 so that it's in the same subnet as LVM 3 and 4. Click on OK there, click OK, and now the reconfiguration of the VM has been complete. Now they're all in the same subnet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create on the NSX Edge, so the ESG, we can do it on both, and I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to keep the configuration as we have it going right now operational. So on Edge 2, I'm going to come over here to DHCP, and I'm going to create a pool. So I'm going to click on Add, and I'm going to have to start this static IP range. So 172.29.2. Well, let's say we'll do 1 dot and then the starting IP. We'll say 11 and then 172.29.1.20. The domain name is going to be lab.local. We're going to set the primary name server is going to be Google. The default gateway will be 172.29.1.1. The subnet mask will be /24. And that'll basically be what it is we're going to deploy. I'm going to click on Add. And we're going to have to go ahead and publish, but we're also going to, this you can see the service is stopped. We're going to go ahead and start it, and we're going to publish. So that'll get done on that particular ESG. The next thing I have to do is go over and do the same thing on ESG Edge 4 or the second ESG. Go to DHCP. Actually, before I do that, let me go and finish this one. I want to get the other DHCP scope knocked out real quick. I'm going to go and create another pool. This one here is going to be for 172.29.2.11 through 172.29.2.20. Lab.local is my domain. Primary DNS server is going to be quad 8. Default gateway is 172.29.2.1. Subnet mask is going to be /24. Click on Add. Now, there's options that I can throw in here. I can put in the next server, TFTP, stuff like that. So in the event that I'm deploying solutions where I need TFTP to download a specific information, I can always throw that in there. Click on Add, and I'm going to go ahead and publish. So now that's good to go. I'm going to go back and do the same thing on Edge 4. Edge 4 DHCP. I'm going to go ahead and create a pool. Same thing. I'm going to go ahead and type in 172.29.1.11, 172.29.1.20. I'm going to skip the domain name here, but I'm going to put in quad 8, default gateway of 172.29.1.1 with a 255 or /24 mask. Click on Add, and add one more pool. So we're doing both pools. So in the event that traffic goes either one way or the other, we can have the capability in play. 172.29.2.20 at .20. Primary name server is quad 8, and then default gateway 172.29.2.1 with a /24 mask. Click on Add. Go ahead and start it and publish. Alright, so the next thing for us to go do is I have to go, and there's bindings where I can statically associate a binding to a server depending on its MAC address. I can set up relay agents if I have external DHCP servers, stuff like that. I'm going to go back over here to the DLR, specifically to DHCP relay. I'm going to go edit the configuration here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the DHCP servers that we're going to point to. I'm going to point in here 172.29.11.1, and then I'm going to do a comma separated value of 172.29.11.3. I'm going to go ahead and say save, and then I'm going to say the DHCP relay agent. I'm going to go ahead and add, and basically the VNIC is what NICs do I want to enable, or am I going to be receiving DHCP from? It's going to be LVM 1-2, and that's going to be the source IP. I'm going to add that, and I'm going to add in here LVM 3 and 4 and that gateway address, and I'm going to go ahead and publish that. Now that it's being published, if I come over here to my ESG1, let me go ahead and open the web console for this. Let me go ahead and log in. I'm going to come in here and type in show question mark, and it's going to be service question mark DHCP question mark, and it's going to be lease info. Right now, no one's leasing any information from me. So what I have to go do now is on LVM5, I'll come in here, I'll log back into him real quick, and I'm going to flip this guy over to be DHCP. So I'm going to close this guy out. I'm going to close this, open this up, edit connections. I'm going to go to click on this guy, edit, and then underneath IPv4 settings, I'm going to set this to be DHCP. And I'm going to get rid of the Google configuration, click on save, and click on close. Now I'm going to right click here and go open terminal, and I'm going to do an ifconfig, and so I'm going to come back over here. Whoops, I meant to say right here. I'm going to hit the up, pardon me, and you can see that I don't have any lease information coming through, right? Nothing, no one's been asking for any IP addresses. So I'm going to come back over to LVM5. I'm going to type in sudo and type in dhclient-r, which is going to be a release. I have to specify the password for LVM1, and then I'm going to go back to here, hit the up arrow. Still nothing coming through. Come back over here, hit that command, and it's going to go out and get an IP address. I'm going to hit the up arrow, and there I have an IP address. I've associated 11 dot to that particular host. I come back over here to LVM5, and I ping quad 8. I should theoretically be able to reach that. I think I might have a problem with, let me ping something internally, 10.255.1.1. I think I might have a problem with oh, you know what? Yeah, this guy's an illogical switch. So let me go disable equal cost multipathing. I think that might have something to do with this. So on the DLR, on the routing tab, if we were to come over here and click on stop ECMP and publish that, and we'll still have failover, we just won't use both links. So we'll be able to use one path towards ESG1, and if ESG1 fails, we'll be able to fail over to ESG2. Let me try that one more time. There we go. That's kind of what I figured. Go back to ping quad 8, that's working, and then ping google.com, whoops. Ping google.com, and that works as well. All right, so let us go over to my other devices here. I'm going to basically open up LVM1 and launch web console. Same thing with LVM2, and we're just going to go right down the line and get these guys all squared away with DHCP. And last but certainly not least, just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and actually put this guy right here, LVM1. I'm going to go ahead and log into and then we'll verify the DHCP as we're going. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to edit the connectivity information because we want to turn DHCP on and get rid of the static config. So that'll take just a second. This is going to be the bulk of the time, but we want to make sure that everything's working so that, you know, we're not doing anything wrong. Let's get automatic and then schwack the quad 8, save, close. And I'm going to type in sudo DH client -R. We're going to give it the password. That's that. And then if we look at the ESG and hit the up arrow, we can see just a 1. So we actually have to go back to LBM1, hit the up arrow, and get rid of the -R so we can tell it to go get a new DHCP address. So after a couple of seconds, it should get some IP info, hopefully. There we go. We're getting plenty of IPs. I think it might have gotten hung up there. Let's do an IF config, and my IP address here is 11. We'll do the same thing for LBM2. We go ahead while that's waiting. Let me go ahead and get LBM3 started, and then LBM4, just so we're not wasting too much time on unnecessary stuff. So let me go ahead and change the config. You'll notice that things are running just a touch slow in the environment because we're doing quite a bit, and CPU's got to respond, and operating systems need processor and things like that. So go ahead and just get this knocked out real quick. IPv4 setting, manual, remove quad 8, save, close. LVM3, same thing. Let me go ahead and close that out. And we're going to go ahead and change his config around. Obviously, a nested environment runs a little bit slow, but that's okay. Go LVM4. We'll go ahead and get this guy squared away. We'll jump back to LVM3 here in just a second. Okay, there we go. We'll go edit. Keep jumping back and forth until stuff starts to respond. And then we're at the point now where pretty much everything is good to go. DHCP, quad 8, save, close, and then we're going to, actually the console's already open, so let's pull the terminal up. And we're going to go sudo DH client -R, the password, and then hit the up arrow, DH client. LVM4, same thing, IPv4 settings, DHCP, quad 8, save, or close, and then sudo DH client -R, password, and then, oops, do that. All right, so if we go back to the ESG and we hit the up arrow, we should see a bunch coming through. So we have 211, 111, 112, 113, 212, 214. Okay, 213. Everything's looking pretty good now. So now if I go back over here to this guy, so he should be just about done. LVM13 is good. IF config. We are dealing with 172.29.213, ping quad 8, and we have internet access. And that's really the winner here, is that we have the connectivity that we have. So if I was to go back over here to this, when you look at the Edge Services Gateway, if you look at the ESG, there's really no way to, if you look, maybe monitoring will tell me. I didn't think so. System events, we can see that there's some stuff going on, but on DHCP, it's not really going to tell us what we've given out. And that's one of the drawbacks to this. We can see that stuff's going on, but we can't actually see from an operation tasks, you know, what's happening. That's something that I wish we had the visibility to, is, you know, what's actually happening and all that good stuff. We're kind of limited to doing this. Now, one thing that I want to make mention of real quick is the ESGs are reachable from the rest of the network. So from here, I should be able to ping, and I don't have a DNS entry for this. So let me go ahead and do this real quick. I'm going to do some, because instead of having to log into the ESG from the console, let's go ahead and do a remote desktop session to this guy. We're going to go ahead and from the drop down, I'm going to go and put in here, this is going to be 10.0.0.254. Click on connect. And I'm going to connect as lab administrator and the password. I'm going to accept that. I'm going to go ahead and log in. I'm going to create a couple of DNS entries real quick. And I'm going to create one here for, actually, let me just make sure, let me validate the IP addresses real quick on these guys. Show IP route. We have 10.100. That's what I'm connecting to on this guy. Here's .2, and ESG should be .3. So if I was to come over here and, one second, let me get over to here where I have this guy right here. I'm going to ping 10.10.0.2. That should be reachable. Actually, no, it won't. Oh yeah, it will. Yeah, it will. Because I'm going through the CSR 1000V to get there, and then I should be able to ping .3 as well. Excellent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back over here, and I am going to create a reverse lookup zone. I'm going to right click here in new zone, and the new zone is going to be 10.10.0. That's going to be the lookup that we give it, and finish. I'm going to go back over here to lab.local. I'm going to right click here in new host. I'm going to put in here is going to be DC1-ESG1, and it's going to be 10.10.0.2. Add host. And I'm going to add one more in, which is going to be DC1-ESG2, and it's going to be 10.10.0.3. Add host. Beautiful. Go ahead and minimize this. I'm going to ping DC1-ESG1, and that should respond, and then ESG2. Do a DNS lookup. That pause is doing the DNS lookup. Now if I click on here and I come in here and type in DC1-ESG1, and I type in DC1-ESG1 and save, and then open, I get a prompt. I'm going to go accept it. I type in admin and the password, and I can do a show service DHCP lease info, and I get the same look and feel. This time I'm not. Let me go ahead and make a couple of quick adjustments here. I'm going to go to change settings, appearance, and I'm going to bump this up to a 14 for the output and apply that, so it'll be easier for you guys to see. So we can see that we have given out all of our IP addresses that we need to have, and we're in really good shape. So this is some of the stuff that I would recommend you guys be comfortable dealing with in terms of the operations. Now if I go back over here and I do a tracert -d to 10.10.0.2, you're going to see that I'm actually going up to my CSR and back down again. So actually, sorry, is this on my, yeah, this is on the, okay, I see how it's happening. So it gets the job done. If I'm on the, so basically what's happening is the NIC that I'm coming from this guy right here is, whoops, didn't mean for that to happen. The reason why the trace is happening the way that it is I'm actually leaving out my local default gateway, and then I'm hitting the CSR 1000V, and then I'm hitting the ESG that way, because even though I have a NIC that is associated to that subnet, I don't have a persistent static route pointing towards it. So if I was to come in here and do a is it a route print you're going to see that 1010 isn't in here. So if I don't have a more specific route, I'm going to point it towards this next hop. So what I do instead is I can do a route add, and what does my config look like here? I can type in route add, and I can type in 10.10.0.0 mask is going to be /24 to 10.10.0.1 and do a route print. And now I should have a route in the routing table that points to that guy. And if I look at my CSR is right here. And if I show IP interface brief, I should have a 10.10.0.1, which I do. So now if I do a trace route to that again, I should go. So it's still not quite going the direction I want it to. I'm cutting out the connection going out to my default gateway. I'm going to the CSR first, and then instead of going to my core switch and then to the CSR, I'm going to the CSR first, but on the wrong subnet. So it is what it is. At least it's working. The connectivity is there, which is the main thing that I wanted to make sure that I had in play. So that's basically where that's coming into play. With that being said, that is pretty much it for DHCP, on the Edge Services Gateway and the Relay Agent on the DLR. Until next time, guys, take it easy.